is when he wanted slaves to go in their graves because they sided with the British to actually be free, and he was a slave owner. And I say this, just being honest, they will never ask a self-respecting Jewish person to stand to a song that praises the Holocaust. They will never do that. They will never ask a Jewish person to do that. So why should you have a black man or a black woman stand to a song and put your hand on your heart to a song that wishes black people at that time and your ancestors to be dead? And that's pro-slavery. So I think it's a lot of hypocrisy that's going on, and it's a lot of false history that is going on, and that we're not having that conversation. And to see Ray Lewis and all these other black men that at any given day they could be shot or killed by police because of their color, not because of who they are being a football person.
There was a Baltimore native. His name is a professor. His name is D. Watkins, and he wrote a book. Basically, the professor wrote F the national anthem, and in the book he says some may object to the anthem because Francis Scott Key sang for freedom while enslaving blacks. His hatred even bled into the lyrics and the elongated version of the Star-Spangled Banner that you will not hear at sporting events. The third stanza reads, "No refuge could save the hurling and the slave from the terror of flight or the gloom of the grave." That line was basically a shot at slaves who agreed to fight with the British in exchange for freedom. Who wouldn't want freedom? And how could he not understand them opting out for a better life when his song is about singing about freedom? So that's what the professor wrote, and it's in the story we got. You can see the whole third stanza in our story, The Forgotten Verses of the Star-Spangled Banner.
Well, not only that, I mean, for the owners, whether it's fake news or not, I'm still not sure.
About the money they took for him?
No, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh no, that's all over the place.
Right. So for him to say that, man.
What did he say?
Anybody that doesn't stand up, they won't have a job on the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, that's un-American. See, now
do they all stand up?
Probably so.
The season didn't start yet.
Well, and we'll see.
And he said anybody that don't stand up this season will find himself looking for a job.
We'll see. I mean, one thing, they don't have to worry about me ever watching the NFL again. Ever in my lifetime. Even if Colin Kaepernick is signed, I'm not watching the NFL until they stop the national anthem. Because now that the truth is out and we're still not having a real conversation, because black suffering is the only suffering that people don't care about. I was telling AJ earlier.
I want to read this one.
There was Jay-Z's song, the OJ story, right? When he said about Jews having money in real estate in his song. The ADL, called himself disciplining or calling Jay-Z out on it, and Jay-Z basically said, look, he said he had stereotypes of all through the video.
Black people, other
people. Of other people. He had stereotypes all through the video. It was stereotypes. The ADL just picked out their stereotype.
What does ADL stand for?
Anti-Defamation League. They only picked out their stereotype.
So it's okay to hate as long as you don't hate them. Don't hate the Jews, but you can hate everybody else.
It's okay to have stereotypes about black people. It's okay to have stereotypes about white people. It's okay to have stereotypes about this person. But don't have no stereotypes about us. So what Jay-Z said was very powerful. He says, I'm not even going to entertain their complaint because they didn't recognize the other stereotypes. You understand?
Yeah.
They didn't recognize. How you just going to pick out your stereotype and called me on it when the song was filled with stereotypes.
I want to. This is another thing we talked about this before, and this is what's been really overlooked. The New York, according to NJ.com, the New Jersey Army, National Guards, and the Department of Defense paid the Jets $377,000 from 2011 to 2014 for salutes and advertising. You know, for them to stand, because before I forgot what year it is. The players were never required to. They were in a locker room when the Star Spangled Banner was sold. They came out afterwards. Like, they wasn't even required to come out until the government started paying for army recruitment and everything. All of this started paying them to show them, you know, saluting or whatever to the you know, to build up patriotism. The government paid, like, you know what I'm saying, like, so we're on a bigger issue than even thing we're talking about. They got paid for that. You know what I'm saying? The players didn't. The teams got paid for that. And then, you know, they just talked about one thing, and it was according to the Defense Department, played 14 teams, $5.4 million over those 4 years for patriotic displays. You know what I'm saying? So before that year, there was no, and I'm not talking about like back in the days. I'm like, they started paying them 2011. So before 2000 something, the players didn't come out during the national anthem. They were in the locker room. You know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't even a requirement. You know what I'm saying? And now after they're being paid for it, now they're making their players do it, and now he's taking a stance, and that's the bigger problem right there too.
What do you say to the veteran that wrote a letter to the commissioner and said that he went to war to fight for that flag, and a lot of bodies came back draped over the flag so that the NFL and some of the players in the NFL can basically slap him in the face with that.
I give them Kaepernick's words. That when Donald Trump and them said in August 2016, August 28th, matter of fact, August 29th, when he said that Donald Trump and them came out and said he was disrespecting veterans, he said, I'm not disrespecting veterans. I'm standing up to veterans like Kenneth Chamberlain, who fought for this country and got killed by the police.
Well,
you know what I'm saying? No, but I'm just saying, like, he's fighting for, you know, he's not disrespecting veterans, and he named like 3 or 4 more veterans who have been killed.
Well, as a veteran myself, United States Marine Corps, that statement is full of shit.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Because black people throughout history of the armed forces has been treated as second-class citizens. We have fought for this country in other countries,
in every war,
and in other countries, to come back and be discriminated against, and come back and be hung from trees, not allowed to have mortgages because of our color of our skin or where we live.
Not allowed to vote.
So the whole thing is that's full of shit. You know, we went, you know, just like Ali said, he wasn't going to Vietnam because the Viet Cong never called him nigger. He's being called nigger here in the United States of America. And when you want to talk about Kenneth Chamberlain Sr., he was called nigger by police that had American flags on their uniforms, and then he was shot and killed. So you know, I mean, for any veterans to say that Colin Kaepernick is being anti-veteran is ridiculous, you know, and especially if it's a black veteran, he lost his goddamn mind. But the whole thing is we allow the narrative to get twisted to the point that we lose focus on reality, you know, and I really think, you know, we still want to not admit, you know, that racism is in the DNA of American history, and racism is American culture, you know, and we try to do things to take people's minds off it. You know, just recently, the Sergeant Benevolent Association put out a video talking about blue racism. What the hell is that? Blue racism. No, the racism is against black people in the NYPD. You know, and even New York City police officers understand that. So as I said in my piece, the black elephant of racism that's in the room, now the NYPD is trying to turn it blue, saying that people are being racist against the blue uniform. The blue uniform historically have oppressed black people through the civil rights era, through the black power era, and even now through unjust killings of black men. And the police department was created on enforcing the slave codes and the black codes to hunt down and even kill free black slaves or runaway slaves. So, you know, we need to have a real discussion of American history. Black suffering is a part of American history, and that's something that I think nobody's ready to talk about.
Here's something I want to show real quick.
Another hand for bringing us all together. And so, again, so my name is Corey Pegues. I'm a retired deputy inspector from the NYPD. Actually, I was commanding officer of the 67th Precinct here in East Flatbush. And I'm also the author of Once a Cop, The Street, the Law, Two Worlds, One Man, a book that just came out a year ago. So as I look through my phone, it says March 3rd, 1931, Congress passed a resolution for us to sing the national anthem, made it officially the song of the United States. And as I scrolled down a little more, I noticed that black people couldn't vote in 1931. So let's just be very, very clear on this United States Constitution and its national anthem. When the Constitution was made, it didn't include us. So we don't, I'm not talking about law enforcement, I'm talking about black people. We don't care about no national anthem. We don't care nothing about no Constitution because it did not include us. I
just want to show that little clip real quick.
And that was our man Corey Pegues, friend of the show, my brother, my traveling brother in fighting the power.
No doubt. But if I remember, I think you had a few words to say too.
I'm never lost the words, unfortunately.
So next up we have Damon Jones, the New York representative for Black Law Enforcement of America. Good morning. My name is Damon K. Jones. I'm the New York representative of Blacks in Law Enforcement of America. And I stand here with other black officers and officers of color in support of Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick took a knee because America wasn't standing up. Right. Colin Kaepernick recognized the racism, the sexism, the cronyism that's in law enforcement. See, black people in America, we really don't know what true justice is when our families are killed and brutalized by law enforcement. And as black law enforcement, we're 4 degrees of separation from the victims. Either we know the victim, we know somebody that knows the victim. The victim is a family member, and then many times in the state of New York, black law enforcement is the victim. Right. See, we have to understand, since 1940, 27 black cops have been shot at, or killed by their white counterpart, and it has never happened in the reverse. Never has happened in the reverse. Governor Patterson issued a police-on-police shooting task force. And what was the finding from the task force? That racial bias, conscious or unconscious, plays a role in a police officer to shoot a victim. So we wonder why these issues are continuing, because nobody is addressing it. Now Colin Kaepernick brought this issue to the world. Everybody's talking about it. When Colin Kaepernick posts the history of law enforcement in relations to black people, yes, it started from the slave trades. It started from enforcing the black codes and the slave codes. And as our brother councilman said, the DNA of racism is embedded in what we see in law enforcement. Stop, question, and frisk started from the patrollers questioning the slaves when they traveled from plantation to plantation. But with them, they ended up being hung. In 2017, they get arrested, and we have mass incarceration. So we stand here as black law enforcement and good law enforcement in support of Colin Kaepernick, and we are outraged as the NFL had the audacity to bring Michael Vick to try to defend someone who's been to jail. He's going to defend the integrity of law enforcement and the NFL. He's not qualified. He's not qualified to talk to us about it when he's a criminal. So we're going to say again, we support Colin Kaepernick, and I will not be watching any NFL, and I will not be buying products from any of the sponsorship this year or next year or ever. Thank you very much.
Or ever. and I or ever. It won't be, and I'm not even, and I'm not even, if I go to a restaurant and the NFL is playing, I'm leaving. Simple as that. I'm spend my money somewhere else.
Seems like Lorraine got a fan.